And Jeremiah said,
God, I love that I'm the one that gets to tell you this. She didn't choose me, but she didn't pick you either.
It made it very clear that a defining feature of his relationship with Belly was that it gave him the opportunity to one-up Conrad and have something he didn't have. Jeremiah spent the majority of this episode moping around, being upset, and borderline unable to get out of bed. Which is fair, he just lost the person who he claimed was the love of his life, and his wedding was called off. But did you notice that the moment he found out that Belly didn't immediately run to Conrad after the wedding was called off, he was immediately gleeful? It seemed to cure his mood instantly.
I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm fine. Hey, did you hear that, Billy's in Paris? What? Wait. Oh, so she didn't call you?
And I know you could say it's just a defense mechanism and he's still hurting, and he probably is. But at the end of the day, he clearly seemed more happy to hear that Belly didn't immediately run off with Conrad than he was sad about the wedding being called off and her ultimately breaking up with him from Paris. And here's the part of this conversation between Conrad and Jeremiah that was the most interesting to me. Jeremiah is so excited to tell Conrad that he's talked to Belly and Conrad hasn't, and he's very smug about it. But what he's failing to mention is that the conversation that he had with Belly that he's bragging about, the conversation where Belly told him that she's staying in Paris, again, the one that he's rubbing in Conrad's face, is also the conversation where Belly broke up with him. And yet he's still so excited to tell Conrad about this conversation because in his mind, it's something that he has that Conrad doesn't. He got a phone call from Belly. All of this just confirms to me that this whole thing was just in big part a competition for Jeremiah. Do I think that somewhere along the competition Jeremiah had real love and real feelings for Belly? Probably, but not in a healthy, non-codependent way, and not in a way that wasn't just a vehicle for his competition with Conrad. Even the language that Jeremiah uses is so telling. He says,
She didn't call you? Only me. Well, I guess that's something.
Only me. Again, he's saying, I win, you lose. I didn't get Belly, but I still win. There's the argument that Jeremiah is justified in being angry at Conrad, but everyone who clings to that argument seems to be forgetting a key fact. The wedding wouldn't have been called off, and Belly and Jeremiah's relationship wouldn't have crumbled within a few days if Belly didn't also love Conrad back. If Belly had no feelings for Conrad, his love confession would have really done nothing. It wouldn't have resulted in Belly becoming so confused that it led to the breaking down of the wedding. As I've said numerous times in my other videos, I'm not claiming that what Conrad did in confessing his love to Belly right before her wedding to his brother was something that was not controversial, but I just think it's really short-sighted to forget the larger framework in which he made the decision to do that. He had just found out about Lacey in Cabo, and he had also just spent a summer with Belly where he had a really strong inclination, that turned out to be right, might I add, that Belly felt the same way back. I'm just not buying that he's the bad guy who had horrible intentions and just wanted to take his brother down. So while Jeremiah can be angry at Conrad for confessing his love to Belly a few days before their wedding, I think what he's really angry about deep down is the fact that it's really obvious, despite the fact that Belly didn't run straight to Conrad, that Belly has feelings for him too. It was obvious before she admitted that to Jeremiah, and it's obviously even more clear after she admitted those feelings to Jeremiah. So while that argument is being made that Jeremiah is justified in being, so angry at Conrad, if you look at Jeremiah in this scene...
Jer, go on. Hey, did you hear that, Billy's in Paris? What?
Despite the fact that I always say no one in this show is perfect and no one is a villain, Jeremiah is definitely giving villain energy here. The kind of crazed look in his eyes, the way he's eating this apple. This is more than someone just being upset that their wedding got called off. And in Jeremiah's whole angry tirade towards Conrad, he's not really acknowledging the fact that him first sleeping with Lacey Barone and then withholding from Belly the information that he knew about Christmas are major factors in what led to this. But what I'm getting at is that we're all so eager to hold Conrad accountable, but Jeremiah doesn't seem to take any accountability for any of his own actions that have been a contributing factor to this whole thing. We know that Jeremiah has had this competitive nature with Conrad since childhood. A huge part of it is the way Adam treated them and the way that Conrad was propped up as the golden child. Now, the entire thing is just coming to a head. To me, it's just so transparent that if there was ever any doubt in anyone's mind that this wasn't just all about Jeremiah having something that Conrad doesn't have, this whole conversation kind of squashes that. And again, like I said, Jeremiah is allowed to be upset, but the focal point of his frustration during this conversation is not about the fact that he lost Belly. It's not about the fact that he lost somebody that he could envision spending his life with. It's about the fact that Belly called him and didn't call Conrad, and that Belly didn't go running straight to Conrad, and so he still gets to feel like he won. He still gets to feel like he can tell Conrad, I have something you don't have. It also strikes me as interesting that Jeremiah feels like he won just because Belly didn't go straight to Conrad. That just seems so incredibly short-sighted. Belly admitted that she's still in love with Conrad, and she told Jeremiah during their phone call, which I will cover in a separate video, it will probably be my next video, that she just needs some time to figure herself out. If I were Jeremiah, I wouldn't be so smug so soon and so excited to feel like Conrad has lost. But I don't think Jeremiah is necessarily somebody who has a lot of emotional intelligence, so I don't think that any of that really occurred to him, that Belly just needs some time for now. And that it doesn't mean that Conrad lost, but ultimately there is no winning or losing because this isn't a game. I don't think it's a game to Conrad, and I don't think it's a game to Belly. I think the only person who has ever viewed this as a game to be won or lost, or has viewed Belly as a prize to be won, is Jeremiah.